Yo, 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 yo. What's up, what's up, what's up? Give up the rack. And hello to my fellow revolutionaries. You know who you are. And welcome to today's live stream. It is Tuesday, the 3rd of March today. March is rolling on out. And what a start to the new month we have had so far. And we're going to continue the vein of what was going on yesterday. It's wall-to-wall Iran and U.S. coverage, baby. Trying to figure out what the hell is going on with the Israeli-U.S. war on Iran, not Iraq. That's right, you heard that properly. I'm going to use the rhetoric from the past to keep kind of that whole train going, that vibe that we are entering into yet another stage of completely unjustifiable warfare, as we plunge ourselves, I guess you would say, further closer and closer, or deeper and deeper into World War III. You know, the jury's out on this one. Are we? Is this the moment that we'll look back and say, "Yep, that's when World War III started," or is this one of those things, these times where we're like, well, one of the major catalysts of World War III, and we're already in it, we just don't know it yet. Ninja Nuts, yay, depressing and existential dread for lunch. My favorite. Yum, 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 yum. Loving it. Hobo Joe, yo, yo, yo. What's going down in the world? Well, like, is there anything else that's happening in the world today? Hobo Joe, I put it to you. Is there anything but what's happening right now? Anywhere in the human race, but what's taking place right now in the Persian Gulf. Hey, let's have a moment to reflect on the death of the rules-based order. Long live the Western Empire. Hey, the Western Empire, and it's like all-encompassing, isn't it? It's like from the British Empire up until the American Empire. Hey, it's all-encompassing, not just the American Empire. No, it's the whole Western world order, let's say. Is America the axis of evil now? Hey, come on. Hasn't it been the axis of evil since, I guess, the Nazis went down? Hey, they didn't wait long to take that mantle, let's just say. Am I right? Nostalgia Enterprises. Can you start off by playing the Simpsons Ayatollah t-shirt clips? Simpsons did it first. Hey, if you link me, I'll play it. If you link me, find a good clip for me, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'm crazy. The only thing I have to for today is Albo only knowing the word overwhelming. Apparently it was Albo's birthday yesterday. Is that right? I think Captain Bucket put that out. Someone put that out on the stream chat. Let me just scroll through and see if that's correct. Was it yesterday? I want to say yes, it was. Yes, it was Albo's birthday. Chairman Albo, our supreme leader. So if you're not down with some of the language that we were rolling with yesterday as we were doing our analysis, you missed out on some of the jokes that we've been rolling with. We now refer to all world leaders as supreme leaders, okay? Because apparently that's just the done thing. We refer to leaders as supreme leaders. If they don't align with our interests, we just call them supreme leaders, and it comes with a lot of connotations. And now governments we don't like, or just all governments, we're just going to call them regimes now, because it's part of the propaganda. If you don't like another government, just refer them as a regime, and then everyone's like internally, like the manufacturing consent is so good, like internally you're just like, oh fuck. Like if you hear someone refer to somebody else's government as a regime, you're just like, damn, maybe they really are not only just like illegitimate, but like they're evil. So everyone's a regime from now on. It's the U.S. regime, the American regime, the Israeli regime. Everybody gets a regime. The British regime, everybody gets an R word, and then we'll take away its potency in the mainstream media. Dilemma's Pauline got censored. Thorpe had a cry, but yeah, it's all Iran for a while. LOL. Yeah, what did Pauline get censored for? Did Thorpe accuse her of calling her a bitch or something like that? And then she got censored for that. Seems like that's the only way they can handle Pauline, hey? The Pauline wave at the moment is just to cut her out of the Senate. make her ineffective so she can't do her job. Ninja knows the only thing missing is America hosting domestic genocide on home soil. Like, as in historically, because they've definitely done that historically. Whether or not they're doing it right now, hey? Yeah, oh man, happy birthday, Chairman Albo. That's right. Hobo Joe, pay your respects. Ravy Baby in the house, hey yo. Reading ADF base getting targeted now? Well. Isn't it about time? Like, they've targeted American regime bases. Why not attack Israeli regime bases? Albo, the Pisces, I can see it now. Like, what does a Pisces do? I'm not down with my. Is it astrology? I'm gonna go with astrology. It's a base ADF operate out of, not an ADF base. No casualties or injuries. Yeah, whatever. To be honest, unless you're talking about something else, which is highly probable. She called Thorpe a bitch after Thorpe made fun of her calling Trump Senator Trump. Okay, and she's got called out of the Senate for calling Thorpe a bitch. Like, is that it? Is that what she got censored for? Like, I'm no advocate for Hanson, but like, god damn, that's some petty shit. Seriously. Like, kids didn't even get kicked out of class for saying that sort of stuff. That's a bit crazy, if that's what's going on. The Senate should be ashamed of themselves. Yeah, exactly. Align with the fascists. Get striked. Fuck around and find out our Anzacs didn't die for this. Just a sarcastic comment about horoscope hippies. Everything is traced back to your star sign. Okay. I was wanting to know about Pisces. She stormed out and cracked the shits. I thought she got censored for the no good Muslims. Oh, she got reprimanded for that? Oh, well. Hey, I stand by it. Chris. I stand by it. All right. Aries reign supreme. Suz, not sus. All right. Calm down. Volt says in the house. How you going? I thought she got concerned. Like, did you say concerned twice? You meant to say concerned. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Now, I'm sure people have been across this. You guys probably have better stuff than I do. If anyone actually has good footage, like of like strikes that have been happening or something like that, you can refer it to me. Like, it's hard to find in the mainstream media because they don't want to, like, blatantly play stuff that's like too intense for the general audience. My phone hates me with autocorrect. Okay, right, got it. Censored, but by who though? She got censored on a commercial network. She got censored by the sponsors. That's the market. Okay? I'm on 3 hours of sleep trying to contact my friends in Lebanon. If I need to calm it down, let me know. All right, I'll tell you. I'll let you know. Okay? You'll be censored and kicked out of the chat if you get too rowdy. Who needs context in Aussie politics? Yeah, it's not necessary. Tell that to Ho Chi Minh. All right. Now, actually, for you, if you're here and you like, some people lurk and some people come in and they come out of the stream. I'll tell you now. I'm pretty sure. I can't say with certainty. I'd love to say with certainty, but I'm pretty sure Friendly Geordies is coming in to the studio here in like 2 hours, 2.5 hours maybe. So I'm going to set up another stream for that. But if you're watching now and you're like, oh, I'm going to fuck off in like an hour's time, for whatever purpose, that's fine. But like, if you want to see Friendly Geordies, then like we should be starting around 2. But like, I really can't. I can't attest to that. Organizing stuff with him is difficult, to say the least. So like, I'm pretty sure he's coming in around, I want to say like 1:30ish, if you can find my place. And then we'll kick off a separate stream. I'll set up a separate stream so you can just watch that stream. You don't have to like fuddle around with this stuff and fast forward through it or not, if you're interested in just capturing that part of today's stream. So like around 2 o'clock, there'll be another stream going up, unless like he contacts me and fucking says he's got to film something and he's too busy. But like, yeah, we're gonna, if you're disappearing for any reason, if you want to see him, come back around like 2 o'clock and there'll be another stream up for that. Mod me harder, daddy. Just saw a video on Reddit of a jet trying to get rid of a tracking missile. Crazy. Is it safe for work? Can you link us, Voltatur, please? I'm getting censored. Posted Ayatollah t-shirt clip. Really? Oh wait, Nostalgia Enterprise. Tell me you're in Discord. Can I give you the Discord? If you don't have it already, I want to. Please give me your links. God damn it. Give me your links. That's funny. People got a list. Topics. Spectre of Mao. Simpsons. Ayatollah t-shirt. General world politics. So good. Traffic on the M5. Am I right? Am I right? Is this stream gonna turn dirty? I don't know. Probably not. You may see some feet. Just saying. Get your cameras ready. Ayatollah Asola. Let's see Geordie's shill for labor. Must be getting a lot harder than it used to be. LOL. Savage, bro. Savage. Let him come and shill for labor. I'm sure you'd love to sit through it. Let him do his thing. But yeah, just a public service message there. Stick around. And you're like, we'll swap the streams over and stuff. Get the dogs out on the stream. All right. Calm down. Not safe for work. See, taking my advice. I see. Yeah, I'm taking it, bro. I'm taking it. The algorithm will not know what's happening. Will not know what's happening. All right, I got to get an update on this whole situation from our supreme leader. I think we should refer to this guy as our supreme leader from now on. Like for anyone that's actually in like the imperial core, not that we really are, I guess, in Australia, but like we're definitely a vassal state of the imperial overlord, and so like we should refer to these guys as our supreme leader. Let's stop thinking that Chairman Albo is in charge. Let's not even pay him like that station, because like it's a hard slog. Like everyone gets upset when he doesn't do stuff, or anyone in that position doesn't do stuff that doesn't really align with Australia's interests. Like, let's not pretend that our leaders in this country are actual leaders. This is our supreme leader of the empire. And so he's going to give us an update on the war. It's always great to hear from this man, especially now that he's becoming like, more and more senile. I don't recognize his authority. Good. That is the sentiment I want you to have, because he is our supreme leader. And if you don't recognize his authority, I don't recognize it either. And then that gives us a chance to foment a sense of rebelliousness, because we understand our position in the system, and it's not floating in the middle of the Pacific Ocean somewhere between the Pacific and the Indian Ocean and Antarctica. No. Our position is somewhere in the power structure that pays homage to Supreme Leader Trump and his regime. Let's call it what it is. So take him to Lakemba. Imagine streaming that. We'll take a picture of BB, a wanted poster with BB on it, and see how far that goes. Everybody, Trump asking for a ceasefire. It's fucking wild. What a chode. Is that what he asked for in this clip? Like, let's have a look and see. I think he's asking for them to come back to the negotiation table, which is fucking hilarious too, right? Am I right? Like, now they want to negotiate again after they strike them. Like, these guys are delusional. They're honestly delusional people. They obviously think that like Iran has no self determination at all, like no self-awareness at all. Be like, okay, you've struck, we're going to start retaliating, and it's going to cause a bit of problems, and now you want to go back to the table again? No, thank you. No American has a right to tell Aussies what to do. I wouldn't say any American, and I'm not suggesting that Americans go out there and tell us what to do, but there are Americans involved in the regime. Hey, you like how I'm using that word? Regime, that feel like they can tell us what to do. And we go and kiss the ring all the time, let's be honest. So, let's use the appropriate words and learn a little bit from how to manufacture consent. Like from now on, we're not just going to analyze manufacturing consent. We're going to actually use the tools to our own advantage. And so, like, I'm glad you said that with such gusto, Dilemmas. I don't recognize his authority. Good. Yes. Let the hatred within you flow. Good. Baby, he's an Italian moderator, according to Israel. And they said, no, fuck yeah. We got China backing our campaign. Ooh. Oh, well. Fuck yeah. We got China, baby. Woozle, good day, folks. Hope all is well. Woozle in the house. How you going? Trumpstein regime. The Trumpstein regime. Any American. All right, fine. Like, look, if you're worried about local Americans, or like Americans, or like when they come here as tourists, telling you what to do, yeah, tell them to get fucked. Give them one for me too, Dilemmas. But like, what we're talking about here, we're talking about the regime. We must have a separation of synagogue and state. Mamuba coming in with the scathing insights on a Tuesday morning. It's good to have you. I hope you're well. Let's listen to our Supreme Leader, please.
And thank everybody for being here. And please, operations in Iran. And there's no ceremony that can be much more important than this. Let me provide a brief update on Operation Epic Fury.
Hey, Epic Fury.
Today, the United States military continues to carry out large-scale combat operations in Iran to eliminate the grave threats posed to America by this terrible terrorist regime. Following our obliteration of Iran's nuclear program in Operation Midnight Hammer a short while ago, we warned Iran not to make any attempt to rebuild at a different location because they were unable to use the ones that we so powerfully blew up. But they ignored those warnings and refused to cease.
Operation Epic Fury. This is what happens when you remove the litter boxes from schools. Hey. Don't be like that. It's a fucking great name. I know people don't agree with me on this one, but Epic Fury, it's better. It's better than Midnight Hammer. And what's the operation that they called? Does anyone remember what they called the Maduro one? Anyone?
Their pursuit of nuclear weapons.
He's playing all the classics.
In addition, the regime's conventional ballistic missile program was growing rapidly and dramatically, and this posed a very clear, colossal...
Oh, Epic Furry. I see. Epic Furry. Lovely. Actually, you know what? Considering all the stuff that we found out about the fucking Epi files, I don't want to know what Operation Epic Furry is with these guys, seriously.
Threat to America and our forces stationed overseas. The regime already had missiles capable of hitting
Midnight Hammer sounds naughty. Like, do you hang out, like you and Ravy Baby? Because Ravy Baby's been making jokes about Operation Midnight Hammer for a long time. I think you two should get together. Your humor coincides. Remember, used to like Trump when he said no more wars. Lots of people I know were fans. Aren't anymore. Look, I thought that was a phenomenon. But, like, are you seriously saying that people are actually... Like, usually people are like even with the Epstein files, everyone's just like, oh, well, he said he was going to release the files, but, oh, well, I still got to back the man. But, like, now this is the thing. He lied about starting no new wars. And that's the thing that's getting Trump supporters or people that had an affiliation with Trump. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. This is the straw that broke the camel's back. Midnight Hammer is what you get. The neckbeard anime PFP's name. When the neckbeard anime PFP's name your operations. Midnight Hammer, my roaring lion with Epic Fury. Oh my god. All the operations sound like code names for wanking. Oh my god. All right, let's just quickly. What was the operation? Um, it was it was codenamed Operation Absolute Resolve. Less cool. Less cool. Can I just say to kidnap Maduro and his wife Celia Flores. Operation Absolute Resolve. Add that to your list. Yeah, blokes at work are talking about it. Really? Isn't that crazy? Like, this is the thing. Like, not the fact that this guy's implicated in a ring of global PDF files. And he was just like, it's a conspiracy. It's a Democrat conspiracy. And he promised to release it. But he promised no more wars. And people are upset about that. But that's a really interesting case study, dude. So interesting. Gonna have a quick midnight hammer when I get home after my shift. Roaring Lion is a bit of a fucking a bit on the nose when the Shah's flag has a lion on it. Yeah, they didn't learn anything from the German Nazi revealing plans in their operation name.
Our bases, both local and regime, hostile threat to America and our forces stationed overseas. The regime already had missiles capable of hitting Europe and our bases, both local and overseas, and would soon have had missiles capable of reaching our beautiful America. The purpose of this fast-growing missile program was to shield their nuclear weapon development and make it extraordinarily...
Yeah, it's anecdotal, but it's still an interesting case study. Like, it's there. You're seeing it. And people who have been kind of like, yeah, they're just trying to... they're trying to throw him off. They're trying to find dirt on him. They dismiss everything that he's done over the time. But now, with this whole Iran situation, now they're just like, can't take it anymore. Yeah, of course it's anecdotal, but it's an interesting cross section to see where people draw the line. No one wants to go to war because a PDF won't admit to touching the untouchable. President Butthole Eyes. Hamas militant number one. Hey, it's Violet. Got YouTube silenced for a bit. I got my old account back for the war. LOL. God damn. How's your fucking name, Violet? My God. That's a hardcore name. Welcome back.
Difficult for anyone to stop them from making these highly forbidden by us nuclear weapons. We were the ones that were complaining. We were the ones that wanted it stopped. But everybody was behind us. They just didn't have the courage to say so. An Iranian regime armed with long-range missiles and nuclear weapons would be an intolerable threat to the Middle East, but also to the American people. Our country itself would be under threat, and it was very nearly under threat. I was very proud to have knocked out the Iran nuclear deal by...
What is he talking about? Like, what threat was the country... Like was the country under? Can someone fill in the gaps for me here? Like, was America actually under some type of threat here? Like, American bases, maybe, because of American actions. They said, if you do this, we will strike American bases. Like, the American country itself, like the Europeans, like, you could make a really long-range argument for that. It'd be like, look, a drone ended up in Cyprus. I'm still questioning that. I am really questioning that one. Like, doesn't that seem really convenient that like one drone went fucking rogue and traveled all the way to a British base in Cyprus, and then all of a sudden the British are just like, British people are now implicated in this conflict. We will have to let the Trump regime use our bases. Like, that one is such a setup. Like, one rogue drone went there, and now the British are happy to let Trump's regime use their bases. Like, come on, that seems like such a convenient one. Yeah, probably won't chat much, LOL. Just thought I'd touch base. Oh, well, thanks for touching base. And I can't get over your name. So hardcore. You're on a watch list for sure. Bro, at this stage, you're overthinking the ramblings of a demented old man. Yeah, but like, come on. There's got to be something in there. Something in there. There was a fatwa on nuclear weapons. Can guarantee the next Ayatollah will not have a fatwa against nuclear weapons. Well, like, you know, it's a fair call in the sense that they have said multiple times they don't want nukes, but they will have uranium there if they need to, and they will develop nuclear weapons, because that seems to be the only thing that really deters people on the world stage, is whether or not you have the nukes, baby. Nuke, 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 baby. And so, like, you know, now they've taken out one, like, or a select number of the regime. Then, like, what's to say that another member of the regime, the lower ranks, isn't going to come through and actually carry out the mission now and just do the nuke thing? Come on. It's just one drone. It's fucking weird, if you ask me. It's like the Aramco attack, where Iran said they haven't targeted any Aramco facilities. Old man arguing at clouds. Hey? All of Trump's speeches are literally this right now. I guess. Rove McManus had a fatwa put on him, but never stopped. That never stopped him nuking Australian comedy into oblivion. Savage, bro. Savage. Poor Rove.
President Barack Hussein Obama, that was a horrible, horrible, dangerous document. They would have had nuclear weapons 3 years ago, and they would have used them. But I'll not let that happen. For almost 47 years, this regime has been attacking the United States and killing Americans. Every time you see someone with missing arms and legs, or a face that's been absolutely shattered violently, it was almost certainly caused by an Iran roadside bomb. They were put there by General Soleimani, who was the father of the roadside bomb. Very proudly, he thought, but I terminated him in my first term. This was our...
The language, isn't it? Like, doesn't he sound like the supreme leader of a regime? He's like, and I terminated that motherfucker. And I do it again. So much for human rights. Had to mention Barack Hussein Obama. Had to. I still can't believe he got in with that middle name as well. The Americans. It was such a different time, 2008. Hasn't there been Mossad agents arrested in the Middle East just the other day going to be a false flag? And when will we be dragged into it? I reckon there will be boots on the ground. Bro, whoa, that's a fucking huge call. You reckon there's actually going to be boots on the ground with this? Like, boots where on the ground? Like, in Iran? Or just generally people sending troops over to the Middle East for, like, peacekeeping? Because apparently the French are sending... like part of their navy over to the Middle East. Like, I don't know what that's supposed to achieve. Like deterrent stuff. I think they're sending it to, you know, the very, very east of the Mediterranean. To do what? I'm not sure. But like, you know. And when you say, hasn't there been Mossad agents arrested in the Middle East? Like, yes, many times. Like, which ones? Which case are we talking about here? Terminated him on the way to a peace conference. Yes, he is the supreme leader of the Board of Peace as well, isn't he? Yeah, he's acting like he shot him himself. Ravi, I didn't know Avi Yemeni was an Iranian bomb. I thought he was a chopping board. He didn't call anyone a cunt. He holds no power over Aussies. Jackie Bailey in the house. No way. It's been ages. He sounds like he was dropped on his head when he was a baby. How you going, Jackie? Hope you're well. It's the first stream of the year. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well. In Iran. What is FMCA? What's that? In Iran. Oh, so they've been caught in Iran. Like, was that during the protests, though, or recently? Can see it happening. Can see it happening. Sorry, I must have read that wrong. Hasn't been decided. False flag will be dragged. I reckon there will be boots on the ground. Can see it happening. I just don't know. I don't know if they're going to commit people like that. That would be awful. Have you seen the jets? I was about to say jets. On it. Have you seen the jets falling out of the sky? Has anyone seen that footage? That's pretty crazy. I don't think they can commit boots on the ground at this point. Yeah, they said they aren't ruling out boots on the ground in Iran. Both Trump and Hegseth? Yeah, I've heard that. I just don't see it. USA called up Europe. They need supply ships. They're going to hold fuel. France just waiting for a mate. Yeah, what are you doing in this region? Just waiting for a mate. US is running out of ammo. Levant affair. Makes me think PRC doesn't want to invade Taiwan because now would be the time to take it. Yeah, I don't think it's ready though, is it? Like, I think this is good timing for it as well, but like things can get much worse for the Americans. Like, you wouldn't want to do it too soon either, if you know what I mean. Doing good, Jackie Bailey. I'm glad to hear it. If they ever planned to, now would be the time. I don't think they ever planned to. Voltaire, yup, me. I have. You got your jats, your clits, and your rings. According to Hassan, the jets was friendly fire. Yeah, that's what they're saying. Like, that's all I've heard is they're just like the Kuwaiti, I don't know, defense forces, the Kuwaitis. They like shot in the confusion, I guess. They shot three American jets out of the sky. Like, what's going on here? Seriously. But like, even if, let's just say the jets weren't like, sorry, the jets have come down. Like, if you were the Americans, wouldn't you want to say that it was friendly fire? Like, the jet fell out of the sky because Kuwait accidentally shot it. Like, 3 of them shot them down. Like, wouldn't you want to say it's friendly fire? Because Iran immediately claimed it and was like, yep, it was us. We got them. And we're going to do it again. Then you notice the Greens are licking their lips if Labor commit troops. They're going to have a field day on the campaign trail. I think a lot of people would. Like, I wonder, this will be an interesting test, right? If what Mamupa is saying is true. And like a general style of Trump supporter who's rather, dismissive of his usual faux pas, he's not going to turn a blind eye to this one. And it's like, no, Iran's my red line. I don't like Trump anymore for this. Like, what would Pauline Hanson do? What is One Nation's position on this? Because if it's not popular for the average Trump supporter, then it's not going to be popular for the average One Nation supporter, I would say. I've been to enough of the rallies to see how excited people are about the Trump regime. I've seen enough fucking Make America Great Again hats to know kind of where people sit on that. On like affiliating One Nation and Trump, the Trump regime or the MAGA movement is the exact same thing, basically. Yeah, China would be silly to make any move apart from hiding in the shadows if they want to be seen as trustworthy in the future. They don't have to do much to look like that either. They just have to sit there and not be America, not be the American regime. They could be the communist regime of China. Yeah, China, sorry, I read that one. Patience, you reckon? Well, China is patient, I guess. It is. China and Taiwan already have like visa free work programs and don't really need to occupy it. Department of War, sponsored by Blue Chew. Pauline will just come out and say no refugees from Iran and visit Fairfield to make Oh my God. There are a lot of Iraqis in Fairfield. First time I ever tried Iraqi food was in Fairfield. I was like, oh, wow. And it's fucking delicious stuff.
last best chance to strike, what we're doing right now, and eliminate the intolerable threats posed by this sick and sinister regime. And they are indeed sick and sinister.
We need a regime counter. He said it 4 times, at least.
Our objectives are clear. First, we're destroying Iran's missile capabilities, and you see that happening on an hourly basis, and their capacity to produce brand new ones, and pretty good ones they make. Second, we're annihilating their Navy. We've knocked out already 10 ships. They're at the bottom of the sea.
Yesterday.
Third, we're ensuring that the world's #1 sponsor of terror can never obtain a nuclear weapon. Never going to have a nuclear weapon. I said that from the beginning. They're never going to have a nuclear weapon. They were on the road to getting one legitimately through a deal that was signed foolishly by our country. And finally, we're ensuring that the Iranian regime cannot continue.
LOL, they are speedboats mostly that we're talking about here. Yeah, we've seen the footage. Pretty funny.
Continue to arm, fund, and direct terrorist armies outside of their borders. And we thought we had a deal, but then they backed out. And they came back, and we thought we had a deal, and they backed out. I said, you can't deal with these people. You got to do it the right way. Today, we grieve for the 4 heroic American service members who have been killed in action and send our love and support to their families. In their memory, we continue this mission with ferocious, unyielding resolve to crush the threat this terrorist regime poses to the American people, and a threat indeed it is. We have the strongest and most powerful, by far, military in the world, and we will easily prevail. We're already substantially ahead of our time projections, but whatever the time is, it's okay. Whatever it takes, we will always.
Why does he keep saying that? We're substantially ahead of our time projection. Like we're well ahead of where we thought we would be at this point. We've destroyed more stuff. Like we're if anything, we're too efficient at taking down this regime. Like what's that about? Like what's he compensating? It must be the fact that they aren't where they are. Because like no one else is thinking like they've actually got a fucking schedule on this, and they're just like, day 3, we will do. Like no one else is thinking in those terms unless you're in the room planning it with them. Like how the fuck are you supposed to know what their schedule is? So obviously they must be a little bit bum hurt, butt sore, or whatever you want to call it, about they're not meeting their targets. Maybe like their timeline. They haven't done enough damage yet. It keeps them making out like it's a big deal, like how he keeps saying he's just like, we got the most powerful army in the world, powerful military ever known to the human race. Like why do you have to say it so many times if it's so powerful? Why do you have to keep saying it over again? Like people are starting to question if that's actually the truth, you know. Got to do it the right way by bombing the shit out of them. BB has this poor bastard by the long balls. He is lying. Because it's meant to take 2 days, and they are saying we can go well past 5 weeks if we need to. They are low on fuel, I think. Their fuel and ammo gives them a time limit. They don't have enough munitions to keep it up, and he knows it. So, like, he's just, like, talking sweet nothings to himself. Like, maybe Ninja Nurse is right. This guy's just he's just a delusional old man. He's like, we'll be fine. We're on schedule. Actually, we're ahead of schedule. Slow down, everybody. I'm a bit tired. He probably means we used to have more missiles than we thought we needed to. Therefore, we're ahead of schedule. That's why they called up Europe, and they have lost a number of radar and fuel bunkers. Jackie Bailey, he's trying to convince himself. It sounds like it, doesn't it? He's like, we're the biggest military. We're so big and so hot. It's so steamy. Oh, yeah. It's true, right, everybody? Everybody thinks of us like that, yeah. Just compare artillery production of America versus Russia. Yeah, that's what I keep hearing. The productive capacity is very different. People are still talking about the epi files. I wonder what he does next if this distraction doesn't work. Think about it. They at the children. You think they have a problem with sending troops to an unwinnable war? Yeah. KK, the UK are involved now, according to Al Jazeera. Yeah, like there's reports of that. Maybe we can have a look at it. But like from what I've seen is the UK is like, no, we're not getting involved in strikes. But like they want the bases. They're opening up their bases for American use. So we're not going to do anything, but we'll give them the keys to our place so they can wage war from our house. But we're not involved in the war. We wouldn't do that. That's immoral. We don't need more missiles. The Kuwaitis have taken up the slack. They are big, but they don't protect their e-fuel. Ravi baby, we have depleted 3 weeks worth of military resources, so technically we are 3 weeks ahead of where we should be today. That's what he's talking about. Now I get it. You're the Trump, Supreme Leader Trump whisperer. That's what he's trying to say. The emperor has no clothes. Remember the Iraq war and the fuel tankers being sent ahead of the tanks? No, I don't actually. I can't remember much about the Iraq war. It's too little. I think he believes it though. Emperor's new clothes kind of situation. His people will struggle to tell him reality. Starmer is trying to backtrack following the bombing. Oh, so now he's saying he wants to get involved. Interesting. All right, let's let this guy finish. Let's let Supreme Leader Trump finish. All right.
Right from the beginning, we projected 4 to 5 weeks.
The door.
But we have capability to go far longer than that. We'll do it. Whatever somebody said today, they said, oh, well, if the president wants to do it really quickly. After that, he'll get bored. I don't get bored. There's nothing boring about this. Do you agree with that, Pete? I don't think there's anything, Mr. General. I think there's nothing boring about it. Somebody actually said from the media, I think he'll get bored after about a week or two. No, we don't get bored. I never get bored. If I got bored, I wouldn't be standing here right now. I guarantee you that, to go through what I had to go through. We also projected 4 weeks to terminate the military leadership, and as you know, that was done in about an hour, so we're ahead of schedule there by a lot. But please join me in thanking every American service member who bravely is standing in harm's way. They really are incredible, and I just want to thank you. We have a lot of them right here. Thank you very much. Thank you.
He literally called the Epstein files boring. Hey, why not this? Those mentioned in the Epi files are the kind of people who would harvest children from refugee camps to do disturbing things, eat, touch illegal, experiment, snuff, just like the Nancys did. Yeah. I'd argue you're bored of people talking about the Epi files. There it is. FYI for everyone playing along at home. A rash is an indignant or severe fluid retention with congestive heart failure. You're clapping for a PDF file. Believe it. Believe it. So, like, that's it. Like, he was just like, yeah, it's going well. 4 people have died. Hey, we're going to be in it for the next 5 weeks. So, batten down the hatches. All right, let's see what our Supreme Leader's Secretary of War has to say. So we're going to the same regime. We're just going to have a look at what Pete Hegseth, the main combatant, the chief combatant in this evil regime, has to say.
We just finished an update with Admiral Brad Cooper, the CENTCOM commander, across.
The rash is indicative of a severe fluid retention. Got it.
The CENTCOM AOR, our leadership and troops, as you would expect, doing a fantastic job.
Fantastic.
2 days ago, under the direction and direct orders of President Donald J. Trump, the Department of War launched Operation Epic Fury, the most lethal, most complex, and most precise aerial operation in history. For 47 long years, the expansionist and Islamist regime in Tehran has waged a savage, one-sided war against America. They didn't always declare it openly, except for their constant chants of death to America. They did it through the blood of our people. Car bombs in Beirut, rocket attacks on our ships.
Operation Epstein's Fury. It's the Epstein class. When you hear like people outside of the Western media talk about this, like there's Indian commentators and Iranian commentators, they call them the Epstein class now. This is a war being conducted by the Epstein class, which is an amalgam, I guess, of the bourgeoisie of America and Israel, who are outwardly Zionists and have expansionist ideas, I guess, well beyond Zion itself. It's interesting. YouTube won't let you say epi class in most sentences. Ooh. It's Iranian propaganda, that's why.
Murders at our embassies, roadside bombs in Iraq and Afghanistan, funded and armed by Iranian Quds Force and IRGC killers. My generation of veterans carry the names of brothers who never came home. Brothers butchered by Iranian-backed roadside bombs and well-armed militias, thousands of our own. We didn't start this war, but under President Trump, we are finishing it. Their war on Americans has become our...
What the fuck? What is he talking about? Like, what constitutes you starting a war? Like, when you're in negotiations with someone and then you start fucking raining hellfire down on them from above and, like, attacking their major cities, so their civilian population and military targets. Like, we didn't start this war, but we're gonna finish it. Am I right, my boys? Hey, everyone else with a slicked back greaser haircut, you guys know what I'm talking about, hey? Fashionistas love a slick back. Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. Look, what constitutes starting a war? Like, didn't they not start it? Like, I don't want to get into, like, you know, kindergarten games here. It's like, no, he started it. No, she started it. But, like, come on. He definitely started. Like, own it, bro. Like, this guy, we suffered his speeches last year when he declared himself the Secretary of War. And he's like, we're not going to be called some pissant Secretary of Defense. Hey, this is fucking bullshit. We are warriors and we do war. And he's like, and his first chance he gets, really, like Venezuela, that was, come on. Hey. But like this, first chance he gets to be like, come on. I'm the Secretary of War, and we're going to war. He's just like, we didn't start this shit. It wasn't us. We ain't no pussy. Ain't about that life, homie. Like he is. He's a pussy. Like, why wouldn't he just say it? He's the Secretary of War. He literally changed his title so he could be a macho douchebag. And he's not being a macho douchebag. Come on. Shout out to Jag for gifting me a sub on this channel. I want to acknowledge that the money you spend came from your hard work and skill. Oh, Jag's in the house? Is this happening now? Let me have a look. Or is this like the other day he gifted you a sub? If it's the other day, Jag, you fucking legend. Goddamn legend. I really hope I sort out my YouTube issues so like people can like do the same thing on the YouTube side as well. Talk about identity politics, eh? My God. They want to start fights and continue to be the good guys. But like, that's the thing. He was all like, we're not the, you know, he made it all like Department of War-y. Hey, we're not going to fuck around anymore with pretty woke words. We do war, you know? Like, this is his chance. And he's just blaming somebody else for it. What a fuckwit. Seriously.
Trump, we are finishing it. Their war on Americans has become our retribution against their Ayatollah and his death cult. It took the 47th president, a fighter who always puts America first, to finally draw the line after 47 years of Iranian belligerence. He reminded the world, as he has time and time again, being an American means something unbreakable. If you kill Americans, if you threaten Americans anywhere on earth, we will hunt you down without apology and without hesitation, and we will kill you. President Trump has also been very consistent. Crazy regimes like Iran, hell-bent on prophetic Islamist delusions, cannot have nuclear weapons. It's common sense. Many have said it.
Jay, you better be in here. Better keep up that view streak. I don't know. I haven't seen him check in today. He come in late. No, so I identify as Secretary of War. Respect my pronouns.
It takes guts to actually enforce it, and our president has guts. Iran's stubborn and self-evident nuclear pursuits, their targeting of global shipping lanes, and their swelling arsenal of ballistic missiles and killer drones are no longer tolerable risks. Iran was building powerful missiles and drones to create a conventional shield for their nuclear blackmail ambitions. Let me say that again. A conventional shield for their nuclear blackmail ambitions.
What?
Our bases, our people, our allies.
YouTube censored me saying keg's breath. What is going on? Like, honestly, look, some of you should really consider going over to the Twitch files. Like, there's a lot less censorship that goes on over there. I hope the YouTube algorithm didn't hear me say that. I'm not spooking another platform. I love all platforms. But, like, honestly, different standards.
All in their crosshairs. Iran had a conventional gun to our head as they tried to lie their way to a nuclear bomb. It almost worked under Obama and his terrible deal, but not under this president. Turns out the regime who chanted death to America and death to Israel was gifted death from America and death from Israel. This is not a so-called regime change war, but the regime sure did change, and the world is better off for it.
Did it? The regime changed? Did it? Hello? Have we had a new government? Is somebody else come in? And we have new administrators in, like a whole new cohort? As kind of the next generation of Iran. Iran 2.0 2026, baby. Like, what's going on, man? Like, seriously. This is not about regime change, but the regime did change. You got to give it to them. Whoever their writers are, they love the fucking one-liners. They love a good one-liner. It's like this is an action movie or something like that. That's crazy. That's great. I watch my phone while I'm doing stuff. The Twitch app is arse. Ah, okay. Well, then forget about it then. Could you specify, was that Obama Hussein? That makes sense then. Only he would have signed up to get Iran to commit to not having nuclear weapons and allow international bodies to come in and inspect their nuclear programs. That's the dirty Hussein that I know. The conflicts that came before this will be separated in history books by this incident. If our leaders keep talking the way they are, they might set off a crusade of sorts and will most likely be recorded, maybe, as start of one or more wars. Bro thought he cooked with that one. He did. He did think he was cooking. What's this? Ninja Nurse. This lady explains how Trump will use this war to cancel the midterm elections. Oh, this is the big theory that we have going on here. I'm going to have to look at this. Because, like, I was thinking this as well. Like, he was just going to cancel the midterms as opposed to people that are like, oh, no. Like, it just won't be a fair election kind of thing. I've seen this chick as well before. I wonder where. Maybe we've watched her before.
While we were sleeping, the United States, in conjunction with Israel, has launched major combat operations in Iran. But let's follow the timeline. A couple days ago, the Washington Post released that they had received a draft of an executive order urging Trump to declare emergency so that he could use emergency powers to seize control of the elections, either delay them or cancel them entirely. In fact, the two laws cited in that executive order don't actually give him that power. They actually limit it, but the excuse was to be able to take control of elections. That was the purpose of this executive order, and the people who were were circulating and supporting it to be able to engage in voter suppression. Also, within this executive order, it would force every single American to re-register before the midterms, which means in the next 6 months, every American that's registered to vote would have had to re-register. After Trump's denial that he wasn't going to use this executive order to take over elections, he then announces the attack on Iran.
Just American heroes may be lost and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future. And it is a noble mission.
Some of you may die, but that's a risk I'm willing to take. And of course, they're using the excuse for democracy, but they are actually using it to gain emergency powers to enable the executive branch to make sure that the midterms don't happen. Then this happens.
Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Oh, my God. Dude, fuck me. A fucking missile actually got through. Oh, there's more. I gotta get the fuck out of here.
This is the moment. How Americans respond right now will determine if in our nation we have free and fair elections moving forward. Trump has been building up to this. He militarized democratic cities. He used the threats of the National Guard and ICE terror. He demanded state voter rolls so that they could be purged. He has perpetuated this idea of election fraud. He stole ballot information out of Georgia. And when the SAVE Act, remember this is the second time that they've tried to push the SAVE Act through. When the SAVE Act is going to fail for the second time because they don't have the votes in the Senate, this executive order appears for them to use emergency powers to seize control of elections to determine who can and cannot vote, because they will lose if American people get out and vote, and they know that. And when this executive order gets leaked, what do? They bomb Iran so that they can declare war and a state of emergency to seize those elections. America, I am telling you from the bottom of my core, from my boots, this will determine if we are free to vote ever again. And if this is not enough to make us protest and general strike and pull them out of power and put them in jail for their participation in the Epstein files, their corruption, and all of the federal laws that they have broken, we will not have a nation of free people who get to vote anymore.
So what's her thesis there? I kind of missed it. Like, it was a really good ramble. Don't get me wrong, like really emotional. So like, you know, you can't help be hooked on every word. But like, is she saying, like right at the start, that the executive order seeks to take a hold of elections, or like stop elections from happening, or like exclude people from voting, or like what is it exactly? Like, she listed all the stuff that they've been doing, like voter suppression. They're going to take away postal votes. They're going to bring in electronic machines. They're trying to bring in the SAVE Act, like all of these things that we've been listing and we know. But like, what was the executive order exactly? I don't understand. She makes a lot of videos on this subject. Like, what's the executive order supposed to do exactly?
While we were sleeping, the United States, in conjunction with Israel, has launched major combat operations before the midterms, which means in the next people who were circulating and supporting it to be able to engage in voter suppression. Also, within this executive order, it would force every single American to re-register before the midterms, which means in the next 6 months, every American that's registered to vote would have had to re-register. After Trump's denial that he wasn't going to use this executive order to take over elections, he then announces the attack on Iran.
Just American heroes may be lost and we may have noble mission.
Some of you may die, but that's a risk I'm willing to take. And of course, they're using the excuse for democracy, but they are actually using it to gain emergency powers to enable the executive branch to make sure that the midterms don't happen. Then this happens.
Okay, so like the executive order is like, if we're at war, no midterms, but then also executive order says, let's like make everyone re-register. So like they've tried to do it through the SAVE Act, which is the point of the SAVE Act, is making people re-register. They want to run through that again, and like all these people are just going to be it's just going to fall through because they won't have enough time, resources, energy to re-register if they don't have all their documentation. So like a massive chunk of the American voter base is going to become eligible to vote, and so like that'll most likely favor the GOP, the Republicans. But like, she's just saying like there's a couple of executive orders. Like, is she saying like directly one of the executive orders is to actually cancel the midterms? That's pretty fucking mental. That's a mental executive order. You gotta agree there. That's crazy. Exclude people from voting. Remember, that declared Antifa and terrorist organizations, and wants to jail his political opponents. The executive order is going to cancel in the event of emergency war. But like we've studied this, and like that's not an option apparently. Even the Constitution, in any like kind of acts or anything, nothing gives the executive actual power to stop elections. And like there's historical examples of when Americans have been at war and they go to elections, like during like World War II and things like that. The 1812 war, I think, was another one. The Civil War, like Lincoln got reelected during the Civil War, I'm pretty sure. So basically Trump a while ago made remarks towards Ukraine and how Ukraine in times of war elections can't be held. But that's in the Ukrainian constitution. But like it's not in the American Constitution. The American Constitution doesn't have any power to stop the electoral process during a war. He literally made comments about doing the same thing in the USA. Yes. But like I guess it's all the devil's in the executive order then. Anyone who's been outspoken on social media has a record of attending a protest, is in a database, you will be rejected from registering to vote. It's pretty scary, isn't it? And I guess who will be fucking the chief architect of that type of software? Fucking Palantir, I betcha. It means that if you don't have the same name you had at birth, even with a birth certificate, you can't vote. And who does that overwhelmingly disenfranchise? Hey? Who? Eh? Women. It's a war on women. The feminists should be outraged. They should be forming a general strike. As long as there is war, there is a state of emergency. The Iraq war lasted over 10 years. The government could potentially stay in power as long as there is a skirmish. Again, like, I just didn't think that they had that ability. So all the trad wives, don't be like that. If you took a different name at marriage, for example, you can't vote because your birth certificate won't match. No, like, but that's the thing though. Like, you can re-register. You just gotta have the paperwork. And like, I think like a lot of people just not have the paperwork. And like the scenario that we were looking at last year when we were investigating this is like there's a lot of people who kind of like, you know, they lived with their parents in one state, they live on the other side of America now in another state with their family, and like they're registered to vote, but if they have to re-register, they like the paperwork somewhere else, it's just not going to happen. They're just, and like in Australia, whatever, because everyone needs to vote, but like over there, people, it's like, oh, fuck it, I can't be bothered doing the paperwork. And so like people will be able to vote, but that you're right, they need the paperwork, and there'll be so many people that are just like, I can't do this, I can't be bothered doing this. Yes, that's what I was saying ages ago. They cancel any non-presidential elections. About time for Directive 51, it feels like. Tell us, dilemmas. You can't hear me? Oh. Is anyone else having that problem? Can somebody else confirm? Jackie Bailey can't hear me. Anyone else? Check, check. 1, 2. Check, check. Hopefully I am still here. Anyone? I can hear you at the moment. No, your audio is fine. All good. Okay. Sorry, Jackie. I don't know. I only hear what I want to hear. Well, that's good to know. I get selective hearing. Typical general. Only hear what they fucking want to hear. Is that a yes to my orders or no? Volta, the reference to Ukraine was to show where he got the idea from, and he has been trying to do the same thing. He thinks that he can do anything with the executive order. Just keeps making them until one sticks. Yes. Yeah, 100%. Sorry, you cannot vote in this election. Your registration seems to have gotten lost. I can hear you. No, you're fine. Well, the Democrats did cancel the primaries last couple of election cycles. Like, isn't that an internal affairs though? Like, I'm not down with, and I'm not sufficiently grounded in this political theater, the American political theater, to understand. But like, that's internal Democrat stuff, right? Maybe refresh YouTube. Do you press the mute button by accident? Did I? Oh no, not me. Right. All I hear is commie propaganda. That's fucking hilarious. Yeah, that's right. You goddamn commies, you're the worst. Hey, stupid commies. All right. That's enough. That's enough with this. All right, I want to get an alternative update on this. Actually, let's just watch this one if you haven't seen it already. This one's fucking mental. I don't know, we're just so used to the rhetoric, the propaganda that comes out of the States about them being fucking invincible. It's crazy to see when shit goes bad. What you're watching here is supposedly, like, I haven't done my research on it, but like I'm just going to say it anyway because it's impactful. What you're watching right now is what it looks like when $100 million, let me just say that again, $100 million falls out of the sky. This is what it looks like. I thought there'd be more like cash flying around and people grabbing at stuff, but no, it's different. It doesn't always look like cash falling from the sky.
We saw some pretty extraordinary vision out overnight. There's been confirmation that it was friendly fire involving American personnel in Kuwait. Take us through what happened there.
That's right. This involves
Dude, Professor Jiang. Dude, we're going to watch him talk about this. I know it's not your favorite source, but he was on Breaking Points or something like that. They had him on, and I haven't seen it yet. I want to watch what he has to say about this. Hey, I got to see it.
The F-15 fighter jets. As you say, there's some fairly dramatic vision of one of them spiraling towards the ground. We hear that this was friendly fire. This was fire.
Dude, apparently in the original audio to this, and like I can't speak Arabic, but in the original audio to this, like these guys that are walking over, they're like, some of them are Kuwaiti like service personnel, and they're just like, oh, an American is down. Like the American plane is down or whatever, jet is down, and they're like, there's a survivor, there's an American over there, and they're just like, and then one of them's like, oh fuck it, it's American, oh let's go then, and like they don't want to pick up the Americans. So much for allies and support, eh? We are watching the final moments of Pax Americana. Hey, well, what happens to Pax Judaica, which is kind of like, if I understand the theory of Pax Judaica properly, it's like kind of like a tick or something like that, or a virus that lives on a larger host and then bends it to its will. Hey? So like if Pax Americana comes down, so does Pax Judaica, right?
From Kuwait. We also hear that there were 6 crew in those 3 fighter jets, and we're told that all of those are safe, that they managed to eject and are now safe. We did, however, hear that a 4th member of the U.S. military has now succumbed to injuries sustained in the strike, in which we already knew that 3 personnel had been killed. The exact location and details around that are not yet forthcoming. So clearly a very dangerous situation for the U.S. personnel involved. But we heard earlier, James, from the Secretary of War, as he's now called, Pete Hegseth, really stressing that this war wasn't going to drag out in the way previous ones had.
To the media outlets and political left screaming endless wars.
Pax Judaica rises out of the aftermath of this war if it goes how Jiang has predicted. They got a big job ahead of them, though. Yeah. Massive job. Well, they're both corporate parties. Bunker 530 is going to have all the footage you're after. Okay. And is that like, on what platform are we talking about here, Dilemmas? Or is that like a YouTube channel?
Stop. This is not Iraq. This is not endless. I was there for both. Our generation knows better, and so does this president.
This regime.
He called the last 20 years of nation-building wars dumb, and he's right. This is the opposite.
Now,
oh, great. He called it dumb, so he's obviously not going to do it because it's dumb, stupid, so dumb. Yo, what's up? You have your Hegseth warriors. Yeah, the Hegseth warriors and the de-woked Department of War that is too what? Too scared to say that they started a war. Such a douchebag. They will actually build an empire. That sounds like a lot of manual labor.
One message that the White House has been consistent on over the past few days is that they do think that there will be more casualties. It seems like they're sort of preparing the American people for news of...
Yeah, it's psychological. What was the quote from Shrek? Some of you may die, but that is a risk I am willing to take. All right, I got to get this guy's take on this. I got to get it. I got to.
It seems nothing is going well for the deranged occupant of the White House, also known as Donald Trump.
He's the supreme leader, bro. Say it properly. The deranged occupant of the White House. Isn't it stunning? Like when you get detached from Western propaganda and the manufacturing consent machine, and when someone calls Trump something like that, you're like, whoa, is he allowed to say that? Oh, God. I feel like I'm being unplugged from the Matrix. He's not allowed to say that.
Americans are now realizing that they may have to pay a heavy price for this Israeli slave's massive gamble on Iran. The latest example is the reported crash of not just one, but several American F-15 fighter jets in Kuwait. This is massive. And this comes just a day after it emerged that the U.S. aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln had to flee to avoid being hit by 4 Iranian ballistic missiles.
So like now the story is the SS Lincoln had to flee. Remember, like we were contemplating, because like the Americans or the Western media completely denied that ever happened, and we had sources from like India and Iran that were just like, oh yeah, we've hit an American aircraft carrier, like, you know, it's going down, baby. And so now I think we're getting a clearer picture. It's always halfway between. They were fleeing because they were under fire, baby. Flee? Ha 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 ha. I don't understand. You don't think they're fleeing? You're like, yeah, we're getting reports from either end of that story, either extreme end of that story. The war against Iran is all part of the Jewish eschatology. The Christian Zionist hinges on to initiate the second coming of Jesus as well, and the war of Gog and Magog. Interesting. I don't know enough about this though. This guy's good. He used to work for like BBC, but quit because they are a mouthpiece. Interesting. Well, apparently, according to Spandonk, he represents some political party, I want to say now, like, and their propaganda machine. I think Spandonk did the research on that yesterday. Fleeing equals running. It was more of a maneuver to avoid fire, right? This barrier is still located in the area. This carrier is still located in the area, right? It was a maneuver to avoid fire. Plug for the new peeps. Are there new peeps in here? If there are new people that are watching this, make sure... Oh, actually, if you haven't already, and you're watching this on YouTube, hit the like button. But if you are new here, hit subscribe. If you're on Twitch, make sure you've hit follow. And come and join us on Discord. This is where we share our propaganda. They reportedly managed to land a few drones on it. Depends what they landed on. Okay. Interesting.
Torpedoes from an Iranian submarine. These two embarrassing incidents took place amidst reports of the brutal pounding of Israeli cities by Iran with a barrage of ballistic and hypersonic missiles. Military experts are now almost unanimous in concluding that Iran's 2 days of attack on the settler colony have caused more damage in the occupied territories than what the Islamic Republic was able to do during the 12-day conflict in June last year. Americans, including Trump's own supporters.
I love your semantics. They're always on point, aren't they? Yeah, but they did drones, missiles. The carrier is still there, right? It's not back in America. So like the only way to flee would be to go all the way home and not retreat from the battlefield. That's the only way to flee, is if you make it all the way back to the homeland. It's not back in America, is it? Hey, propaganda. I knew it, but it is propaganda. It's all propaganda. You have to find out what story you believe is true at the end of the day, right? And they wouldn't do anything if the sides or the deck of the character wouldn't have done anything to the sides of the deck of the carrier, right?
Are now beginning to disown the man they voted to power only 17 months ago. These topics would be the focus of my video today, so please stay tuned. Let's start with the report of a crash of several F-15 fighter jets in Kuwait this morning.
Well, retreat, I'd say, is fleeing. Did it retreat, though, or just move around? But like, if it's in order to maneuver, it has to remove itself from a point where it can be fired upon. Like, is that a maneuver or is that retreating? Like, you know, again, like I know, like it's semantics, but like, what's the fucking difference? If you're maneuvering out of somewhere, like, are you fleeing or you're just maneuvering? Like, it just depends who's telling the story, right? Am I right? Am I right? Well, like, yeah, legit, I don't know either, because yesterday Iran was saying they hit it and America was denying it ever happened. And now all of a sudden it's a maneuvering operation. Like, people at least admitting that it was under threat. There was no threat yesterday, depending on who you're speaking to. Several U.S. warplanes have crashed in Kuwait. Defense Ministry. They were shot down by the Kuwaitis, apparently. Hey, who would have thought? Friendly fire. You can retreat to your base or you can retreat as a maneuver. It's semantics. Tactical retreat.
The video of one crash has gone viral on social media.
The guy kissing. Look at that. That's what it looks like when $100 million falls out of the sky. Isn't that fucking mental? That's crazy. Untouchable? I think not.
Times of Israel said that one pilot had managed to eject himself just before the crash. It carried a social media post which claimed that the crash was a result of a friendly fire, but it doesn't explain as to who would have caused this friendly fire, except the fact that Iranians have been firing plenty of ballistic missiles towards Kuwait in the last 48 hours.
That's not a bad point. Like, let's just say it was friendly fire. What are the Kuwaitis doing anyway? Are they firing missiles and anti-aircraft weapons into the air for some reason? Like, actually, you know what? That doesn't make sense, does it? Several U.S. jets crash in Kuwait's crew survives. Interesting. It doesn't matter if it was friendly fire or Iran who shot these jets down. It's still an utter embarrassment for the almighty empire. Such a harsh assessment. But it's kind of true. Everyone's just like, oh my God, that can happen? Oh my God. It's shocking. This is so much misinformation around this war. There is so much misinformation. But like, isn't that like all wars though? Isn't it? Like, it's called propaganda for a reason. It's like when they were saying yesterday only 3 people have died from the US side, or in like all of the strikes that happened, 3 people? Come on. It's becoming numbing to find anything factually accurate, which I suppose is the reason why misinformation is used. Yeah. And it's like, you know, shopping around for sources. If you can find Iranian sources, like, let me know. I'd like to know what their perspective is on this. But like, I usually go to Al Jazeera for this stuff, but like, they've got too much skin in the game to get like an accurate understanding in this position. Like, they're too much involved with the US to give accurate reporting or objective reporting. Let's say they've got an agenda. This should literally be the equivalent of cavemen fighting musket men. This does not make America look good. Kuwait is not known for its industrial military complex. There were more than 3 flag-covered coffins in the reparation flight. Okay.
Turkey's TRT World quoted the Kuwaiti Defense Ministry statement, which read, and I quote, several U.S. warplanes.
Whoa, most Iranian sources are misinformation. They go hard at it. It's mostly them. Look, I'll take the first half of that statement, but like, it's mostly them. I don't know, man. There's a lot of fucking propaganda swinging around on this on all sides. So like, they go hard, but like, relatively speaking, is it much harder? Like than the West, especially if the West really believes in what is being said. Does it matter how hard the propaganda is? It just matters if people are believing it or not.
Crashed this morning, confirming that all crew members survived. End quote. Iran's official TV channel, Press TV, wrote on Telegram channel, so much for easy win. The US forces have not responded to this development, but if indeed this is true, this would heap more embarrassment on the rogue regime of Donald Trump in the US. The development comes just before we learned that the Iranians had struck the US embassy in Kuwait. This happened only this morning. Trump's reckless decision to appease his Israeli masters in launching an illegal military...
Like, did anyone hear about this? I'm getting my research assistant out. American embassy hit in Kuwait. Did anyone hear about this? Did anyone know about this? I don't get this information from the West. Messazen. I'm going to say Messazen. Let's go with that. Messazen. Hey, there you go. Welcome to the stream. You support Iran or Israel? Oh, bro, if you know that we call them Israel, you must know the answer to this. I support countries not attacking other countries for no fucking reason. How about that? And so far, Israel and the US are all over this like a rash in terms of unjustifiable military action in this case. Hey, I want to see the nukes. I want to see them. I want to see them. I support the working class. That's right. I support all the fucking working people that are on the ground here. They're going to die because the epi class decided that they want to do some war to distract everyone from the files. I'm pretty sure he's still in Britain or somewhere. Really? Who? Very interesting. Perfect. Oh, well, I'm glad you agree. Let's have a look here. I have heard reports that the American embassy in Kuwait has been hit by Iran. Are you able to confirm this and give us brief details of the damage? I'm pretty sure he's still in Britain or somewhere. Oh, this guy, our mate here. Yes, there are credible reports the US embassy in Kuwait was hit. Likely by an Iranian drone, but damage appears limited. No casualties have been confirmed. Drone strike hit the embassy compound. Damage, broken windows to the main embassy building, the fire in a warehouse inside the compound. A second strike occurred, but no significant additional damage. No injuries to personnel have been reported. Okay, interesting.
Aggression against a sovereign Iran is proving to be hugely unpopular. In a year, he faces the crucial midterm polls. First, listen to US lawmaker Chris Murphy on what he had to say when he appeared on the Face the Nation show.
It's no secret that this administration has no plan for the chaos that is unfolding right now in the Middle East. Those scenes that you showed at the beginning of the program are frightening. Violence is not contained just to the Middle East. It's spilling over into Pakistan and other parts of the world. And
definitely ain't going to be midterms now. What the fuck? Really? We had this conversation, I swear, just before you clocked in as well. I really wanted your opinion back then. So you're telling me that, like, remember how we were speculating on this for ages? And, like, the position has been kind of between the two of us. Like, I've speculated on this idea that they're going to use warfare or a state of emergency to shut down the midterms. Or just elections, just generally, I guess. But, like, let's say the midterms, based on a state of emergency or something. And, like, we searched legislation in the Constitution, and it's like, no, he can't do that. And, like, now, what's the basis of there's not going to be any midterms? Because I thought, like, the argument or the conversation that we've been having is there won't be midterms because it's not going to be legitimate midterms. Did you see the article I shared with you last week? Yes, I think so. But it was about this. Is this about the potential executive orders that he's trying to push through? Discord also in the chat if you'd like to watch. If you'd like to join. Yes. Mess season. Yeah, come and join us. I'll put it in again in Discord. The Discord link. The Discord link. There's footage of just a stream of missiles coming in and nothing going back over 20. I watched 24 landings in Tel Aviv earlier and like 0 anti-air. There's footage of just a stream of missiles coming in and nothing going back up over 20. Trump administration are circulating a 17-page draft executive order that claims China interfered with the 2020 election as a basis to declare a national emergency that would unlock extraordinary presidential power over voting. It's the Chinese now. Isn't that crazy? Like, I thought it was the Russians. Now it's the Chinese. Well. Scenario. On the 5th of October, say, that might mean outlawing early voting. By the October 13, it might mean no mail-in voting. By October 29, a reminder that all voters must present ID to vote. And by Sunday, November 1st, 2 days before election, an announcement that all these reasonable measures have alas failed, and he is now forced against his will to postpone the election. Holy shit. Holy shit. Oh man, what a wild theory. I wonder if this comes true, eh? I guess we'll fucking find out, won't we? I guess we will find out. I'm waiting for the big one. The president has authorized use of tactical nuclear weapons. Don't say it, bro. Don't say it. Like, honestly, when you start saying stuff like that, it becomes more real. I reckon it won't be the Americans that would do that, though. Like, I already speculated on this last week. If anyone's going to do it, I think it would be Israel. If what Violent Quinn is saying is true, that like the Iron Dome is already completely shot, and like they're just going to get hammered by Iran non-stop for the next few weeks, like that'll destroy large sections of Israel. The nuke will come from them. It won't come from the States. Why would they get their hands dirty? That's why Israel is there, to do this type of stuff. And then, like, it'll go down in the history books. It'll be the U.S. and Israel as the only two countries that have used nuclear weapons against others. It's either the radars aren't working, or they're out of interceptors, or they're saving what they have left. Saving it for the big guns, which is what Iran is doing as well, apparently. You can't go by the Constitution. If it got followed properly, you wouldn't need a tax stamp for a full order. And you would be able to buy 40mm grenades and a launcher. Dilemma. So, like, you got to start your own channel, bro, and just like dedicate yourself to like finding the gun control measures in every scenario. So it all relates. I'm telling you, it all relates back to gun control. You know how I'm always going on about capitalism? Like, you could be the gun control guy. Be like, I tell you how this relates to gun control. Sit down. I got a story to tell you. Interesting.
It's no secret that our allies in the region, with the exception of the right-wing government in Israel, had begged us not to take this action because they knew that the spillover, which is now looking like regional conflict, was the likely outcome. So again, what are we getting out of this? We're not getting regime change to a democracy. We're not going to eliminate their nuclear program. We are going to have regional war breaking out. It won't be the billionaire kids of Donald Trump and his buddies that die. It's going to be the children of middle class and poor families all across this country who are going to die for a war of choice, a war of vanity, an illegal war.
Murphy isn't the only one raising his voice against Trump's criminal action in engaging his country's armed forces to fight an illegal war of Israel. Nick Fuentes, an otherwise ardent MAGA supporter, is now openly urging Republicans to vote Democrats in this year's midterm polls to humiliate Trump. Fuentes, too, is disgusted by Trump's decision to let his supporters down by attacking Iran.
Something has gone.
No way. Are we about to watch Fuentes tell his supporter base to vote for the Democrats? What is going on? This has got to be some form of propaganda. Is this real? Am I seeing things correctly here?
Horribly wrong. All of those people, with some exceptions, were never Trumpers in 2016. Shapiro didn't vote for Trump in 16. Mark Levin was critical of Trump in 2016. Where were these people when the movement was actually born, when those pillars were in place? Now all of those people are in the center. The movement is something else now. And what we need in 2028, this is our last chance, we need in 2026 for this administration to be shut down. What does this administration do other than cover up the Epstein files, embezzle money through government contracts, and bring us to war for Israel? This administration needs to be shut down immediately. Do not vote in the midterms, and if you do, vote for Democrats.
The last 2 days of war has shown just how clueless Trump and his war criminal Israeli master Benjamin Netanyahu.
This guy's a contrarian. It doesn't matter who's in power, he will disagree just for the sake of disagreeing. Like the Dems won't do the same thing. That's I didn't expect that. Like, I know he's staunch in his opinions when it comes to is not real, but like, here it is. Here it is. Don't vote or vote for Democrats. Interesting.
Have been in their miscalculation on Iran. Not only did Iran stand its ground against the collective might of the U.S. and Israel, the Islamic Republic has also swiftly and firmly hit every single American and Israeli facility across the Arab world. It was as if the Iranians were waiting for this conflict to start, and they were sitting ready with the locations of each and every American and Israeli military network in the region. Trump had tried to intimidate Iran with its naval and air power. But listen to Larry C. Johnson, a former CIA intel analyst. He says the US Navy has every reason to feel worried because, according to him, it is in deep trouble already.
And the United States is suffering significant material losses. I don't know about human loss at this point. What's happened right now, for example, they made a big point of attacking the Fifth Fleet facility in Bahrain. It's a port. That port is critical for providing service to, say, U.S. destroyers who, remember, these destroyers come equipped with 96 missile slots. I think they got 50 up front and 46 astern. And their vertical launch system. So when they launch either Tomahawk cruise missiles or Aegis air defense missiles out of those tubes, the only way to replace them is to sail to a port. Previously, they could sail into Bahrain and go there. Not now. Iran has closed the Strait of Hormuz. You've got several U.S. Navy ships that are now basically trapped inside the Persian Gulf, and Iran's got the anti-ship missiles to take those out. I don't know if they have yet, but I think they will. Number one. So now this means the United States, when it's in a fight with the Abraham Lincoln carrier in the Arabian Sea, accompanied by, last I checked, it was like 3 destroyers and maybe up to 4. Once they're run out of missiles, the nearest port is 3.5 days away at Diego Garcia.
There are also reports that the U.S. aircraft carrier...
Has anyone been hearing this analysis? Anyone? Everyone seems to be fucking across this whole situation. Very, very well informed. That's a huge point of analysis that I haven't heard coming out of the Western media on this one. That's very interesting. KK's in the house. Iran has some field advantage, a country that's been under constant attack by America and also having to watch as also fall under American control. I'm sure that they've been planning for a long time. Yeah, right? A long time. Decades, some would say. That's where the blaming China for the election thing comes from, I suppose, too. If conservatives drop the free market, every would agree as allies. LOL, I prefer Fuentes and Candace over a lot of the rest of them. They might be grifters, but at least they have some independence, or at least some things that they draw lines at. Yeah, they have red lines, don't they? And they go hard for it. But that's like what galvanizes their supporter base. Like if you pick an issue and you stick with it, like stick by your principles on that matter and don't give up, like people rally to you in times of uncertainty. Hello, pretty uncertain times. So there's a possibility this could have been Vietnam again. Not saying it will be. I've been following the previous guy a lot over the last month. Like the guy that we just saw talking there, old mate. Anyone underestimating Iran up to this point is an absolute fool. Just chugging the Kool-Aid. Although I can handle grifters, but the shit that they say and the dots those two connect are next level. Clint Russell over Fuentes and Candace. They need genuine help. Candace Owens' latest story is that Erica Kirk was born a man. Nah, come on. Seriously? That's a joke, right? He's pretty knowledgeable about military capabilities. Like the old mate that we just saw, this dude here, Larry Johnson, former CIA Intel analyst. Larry C. Johnson. That's that's such an American name, isn't it? It's so American. Larry C. Johnson, former CIA Intel analyst. So good. No, it's freaking true. Oh, wow. Okay. I guess that's like the holy grail for conservatives, right? Everyone's secretly trans. Hey? Everyone who's an ideal, an enemy, perceived enemy, is somehow secretly trans. Candace does nothing but transvestigate. Charlie came to her in a dream to tell her about Erica's true story. The previous guy's okay, but he's ex-Intel and they may still be Intel, so he definitely thinks more deeply about it than a lot of commentators.
Diego Garcia.
There are also reports that the U.S. aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln was indeed forced to flee after Iranians fired at least 4 ballistic missiles in its direction. According to Al Jazeera, the U.S. Navy said that Iranian missiles had failed to reach the warship. But the Iranians have said that the aircraft carrier had fled, fearing it could sink in the Persian Gulf. Aside from possessing an advanced...
Kylie Wyote's in the house. How you going? Hope you're well.
...version of ballistic and hypersonic missiles, Iran also boasts of the Fatah-class diesel submarine. Americans' worry is that Iran could make their lives miserable if US warships are attacked by both missiles and torpedoes from submarines at the same time. This explains why the USS Abraham Lincoln had to flee from its base yesterday. Then there are...
He used the word flee again. He's used it twice. No, 3 times now. Hey, what type of propaganda is he trying to spread here?
There are other worries for Trump. Americans had stockpiled enough interceptor missiles to last for 15 days. But given the ferocity of Iranian retaliation, Americans have ended up overusing their interceptor missiles, and now there are fears within the US Armed Forces that they would run out of their interceptor missiles after 7 days. This explains why Trump has already started considering to hold talks with Iran, although he says that Iran wants to hold talks. US lawmakers have begun questioning the rationale behind attacking Iran, which had
The specter of Kirk transitioning to Candace Owens' house. So good. The aircraft carrier has to walk it back.
posed no threats to America. This was Democrat Senator Mark Warner on CNN.
You heard Chairman Cotton say that the president's decision is completely justified. What do you think?
I think the president has started a war of choice. There was no imminent threat to the United States. So the decision to put our service members in harm's way and bases around the region in harm's way was entirely based upon the president's decision, not an imminent threat to America. I think it is incumbent that the president of the United States comes before the American people and the Congress and makes the case of why he has chosen to go to war at this point.
Trump's claims to justify his criminal action against Iran is finding no takers globally. This was ABC Australia.
Go back to work. Good luck. I will say hi to FJ for you. Stay in school, kids.
John Lyons calling out the disgraceful government of Anthony Albanese for defending the illegal action of Trump and Netanyahu.
I think a really important question now is why did the US and Israel decide to go now? It's interesting, Oman was of course the mediator of the talks between Iran and the US. Oman's foreign minister has urged the US not to use his term, get sucked into further military action, and he says to the United States, this is not your war. And he also has appeared on American television and said that the talks were making unprecedented progress. He said Iran had agreed to zero new enrichment. And so it poses the question, when the mediator is saying that one side, Iran, had agreed to X, Y, and Z, why suddenly, and given the President of the United States had said we've obliterated their nuclear capability, he said that in the State of the
Laris, that's an interesting point, isn't it? Given some of the not conspiracy, but some of the theories that we've had about like what goes on with China. They start pulling interceptors from South Korea, and what does that mean for like the whole North Korea v South Korea, the whole China v Taiwan situation? If America starts pulling resources from other theaters, so they can like maintain this stupid war that they've started, then like what does that mean for other parts of the empire, let's say? Did you see the US said Israel was planning to attack, and since the US bases were at risk, they had to strike preemptively? No. So because they knew Israel was going to do something, they have to strike because Israel's going to like piss off the hornet's nest. And so like, let's take out the hornets before things get too bad. We just can't contain Israel. From what I saw, they will be pulling them from everywhere. Yeah, but like all theaters then? Like what are the other theaters? But like, yeah, imagine that. If they deplete the Indo-Pacific or the first island chain, let's say, for this. Even Ukraine? Really? Oh, what did they say yesterday? They're going to get Ukrainians to teach personnel on the ground in the Iranian theater right now how to deal with drones, because it's the Iranian drones that are being used by the Russians, and so the Ukrainians are across it. So they need to pull people from Ukraine to teach people in the Persian Gulf how to deal with American drones. Talk about shifting decks. What is it? Chairs on the deck chairs on the Titanic. Another strike from Iran. Fars province copying it all this time. Washington and stuff have them also. Yeah, they are pulling veteran drone operators from Ukraine, so the American hegemony is already suffering. pulling them from everywhere. It's one big old jerk circle. Hey, so good. Thank you, Dilemmas. Did not go wasted, that commentary. Good pickup. They wanted the Medusa launchers they sent to Ukraine. How do you fucking know so much about this, Violent Quinn? Are you a military analyst? Is that what's going on here?
The Union last week. Why suddenly, and everybody's falling into place on this behind the US and Israel. Even the Australian government, their first line says, Australia stands, this is from Anthony Albanese, Penny Wong and Richard Marles, says, Australia stands with the brave people of Iran in their struggle against oppression. That's the first sentence of their statement. What in fact they're saying there, that's just sort of disinformation in my view. What they're saying is Australia stands with Israel and the US in their new war on Iran. So I think it's being driven by Israel.
Nah, but I'm on disability pension, so I have time, plenty of time. Well, fuck you got, plenty of time to look into this stuff. God damn. Violet, Heidi, and I all run the same online circle, jerks. Yeah, apparently. My God. You will be my military advisors from now on. You can give yourselves an operation code name if you want. I'm going to make one up for you. I'm sure you will pick appropriately.
And I think that President Trump has, because only 2 weeks ago, Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, went to Washington and said publicly that this is not just about the nuclear program, let's broaden it. It's about ballistic missiles, it's about Iran's influence through the proxies in the region. Now, everybody is now digging up, like even Prime Minister Albanese, what happened in 2024 and Donald Trump saying what happened in 1983. So suddenly all of these supporters of Israel and America are putting together this narrative that is completely different from what we've been told for the last 6 or 12 months, that this was about Iran's nuclear program. There's a lot of untrue statements and narratives being told at the moment.
Yeah, almost making that case for war after
That's
the
right.
strike.
They're all in unison now. I mean, Anthony Albanese's statement could have been written by the United States and Israel. It is straight out of their playbook.
I'm interested.
Back in the U.S.
Wow, this guy's savage, isn't he? He's tearing it apart. Hey, I know what you're really up to. It's almost like Australia is a vassal state and we have an evil regime that dictates over us. They call it the Trump regime, led by Supreme Leader Trump. Wait, is he saying they lied to us? What the man? Seriously. Would you look at that? Manufacturing consent. Well. Our government has been, and has been for a long time, completely captured by foreign interests. It is time to rise up like our compatriots around the world and shake ourselves off from this imperial oppressor and to get our own self-determination. Oh my God. What is that? The time is now because Trumpy gonna die, and that's their exit strategy. Oh man. What's this? Iran live uamap.com. What's that? Spendong. This ABC guy ain't getting let into Vegas for the NRL after this diatribe against the Supreme Leader. Who's Supreme Leader? Which Supreme Leader? Wow. Monitoring isn't fun, but I find it exhausting, honestly. Whatever happens, happens. Yeah, you're on top of this too, Clarice, aren't you? You're a little military analyst. I hope you guys have your own channels. Hey? I've been always info crazy. I used to ride a bike reading a book. LiveMap is a post aggregator site, and mapping, it's handy. But it's US run. Oh, okay. Everything is out of control, so my knowledge helps me feel some sense of empowerment. LiveMap Tracker puts together all sources of news if anyone wants. Okay.
U.S. journalist Ayman Mohildin gave grief to Republican Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna for peddling lies about Iran to justify Trump's criminal action.
Can you just tell me really quickly, where have they killed thousands of Americans in America?
I didn't say they killed thousands of Americans in America. I said that they have been responsible for thousands of Americans being killed. And I think that that's easily something that you can verify. I don't know, state-sponsored terrorism for starters. Are you serious right now about that whole thing? I'm not going to list out exact specific locations they've literally been responsible for sponsored terrorism.
Are you talking about the Iraq war where the U.S. invaded Iraq?
You can start out by the three that they just killed. Okay, the whole point of your network, if you want to actually talk about the facts here, I'm giving you the facts. But I'm not going to sit here and argue with you about something that's commonly accepted and known.
Congresswoman. You don't have a good understanding of the conflict.
Well, I'm the one that's getting the briefings, not you. You're a pundit offering your opinion because you want clickbait, but aren't actually interested in the substance.
No, not at all.
We can talk about the fact that Obama sent millions upon millions of dollars to the Iranian regime, or do you not want to address that because it's not supported by your opinion and your network?
No, not at all.
Is this really even something that we're going to actually get to substance here, or are you going to continue to attack this?
No, it seems like you just want to filibuster. It seems like you don't really want to have a good faith conversation.
Or you just don't like what I'm saying.
No, we would have invited you.
Who is this? Like, she's got the fucking playbook down pat. Like, she's just not letting him talk. And, like, even if he says stuff, she just talks over top of him anyway. Hey? Like, it's a great tactic. Like, if you can't answer the question, just keep talking. I'm going to remember that. Hey, I might have to use that one day. I'm just going to keep saying shit. Hey, I'm just going to keep on talking. Yeah, just right over the top. Keep on going, boys.
It happens every time I'm on with you.
Yeah, you keep coming on every time, and you keep stating a lot of things that are incorrect.
Because
the United States launched an attack on Iran.
About it, except for you.
The United States launched a war against Iran right now. Iran retaliated, in which American members. Strikes. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but at the end of the day, the Iranians responded and killed 3 American service members. So what we're trying to get at is you make an assertion on this air that it's not an invasion when America sends fighter jets and Israel sent fighter jets into another country.
Boots on the ground are not going to happen. Congress will not vote on war with Iran because that is not something that we support, and that is not the administration supports.
That's actually what the Constitution says that in Article 1, but I guess you think Article 2 is more important.
These are early days.
That's fucking painful.
But if Trump and his war criminal friend Netanyahu thought that the Iranian government would crumble after the assassination of their supreme leader and that the Iranians would be begging for mercy, they were horribly wrong. The Iranians are in no mood to negotiate. If anything, they are determined to teach Americans and Israelis a lesson that they will never forget. At least this is what Iranian leaders have been saying in their public pronouncement. Whatever happens in the next few days, it's safe to say that it's advantage Iran.
All right, that's enough of this. All right, let's get another outside opinion on this one. Professor Zhang, predictive history. Let's get his fucking 2 cents on this bad boy.
All right, guys, we've got yet a popular YouTube channel, Predictive History. He uses game theory to analyze past, current, and to predict future geopolitical events. And he joins us now. Professor, great to have you.
Good to see you, sir. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, of course. So, for people who aren't familiar with your work, I wanted to show folks that back in 2024, you made 3 big predictions. 1, that Trump would win. 2, that he would start a war with Iran. And 3...
I excuse this blue MAGA sauce to listen to Zhang. Yeah, well, I'm glad it meets the test, bro. Viva Professor Zhang. Like, people love this guy. Oh my God. Like, he's good. He's great. And that's why I guess they've got him on, right? Yeah. That's why they've got him on. He's popular with the masses.
That the U.S. would lose that war. Let's take a listen to that.
In this class this semester, I'm making 3 big predictions, right? First is that Trump will win in November. Second is that the United States will go to war against Iran. And the third big prediction is that the United States will lose this war, which will forever change the global order.
So obviously that last one is the only one that has not yet come to fruition. Is quite a stunning prediction. You know, do you stand by it, and what have you seen so far that leads you to sort of stand firm in that conclusion?
So, given my analysis of how the war is progressing, I think that Iran has many more advantages over the United States. The reality is that right now, it's a war of attrition between the United States and Iran. And the Iranians...
He is not bad, but I do wonder about how he appeared on a screen so fast. But he's interesting. It is a really interesting point because you've got to admit, like, he's relatively come out of nowhere. He's got like 1 million subscribers or something like that. He's really fast, meteoric kind of rise. And it is interesting because obviously they have the ability to just bump up whoever they want and make them larger than life. And like, yeah, it is interesting. I'll give you that one. I had that thought too, Violent Quinn. It's a good call. In the manufacturing consent machine of the 21st century under surveillance capitalism, it's not like who owns the newspaper or who owns the TV station. Like now they can do this through algorithmic suppression or release. They can definitely do this. So like, I wonder if there is anything of a conspiracy theory behind this. Like why was he let through the algorithm for this? What is it that he has to say? Maybe he's just really catchy and people just love him. Maybe it's just that.
Have been preparing 20 years for this conflict. In their eschatology, in their religion, this is a war against the great Satan. They've had many practice runs.
I'm curious too. Yes.
June was a 12-day war when the Iranians were able to examine and analyze the strike capacities of both the Israelis and the Americans. And they've had a lot of time, 8 months, to prepare fully for this new attack. They, through their proxies, the Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Shia militias, have been able to really grasp the American mentality. And now they have a pretty good strategy of how to weaken and ultimately destroy the American empire. So what the Iranians are doing is they're waging war against the entire global economy. And so they are striking the GCC countries. And not only are they striking GCC countries, American bases, but they're going after the critical energy infrastructure of these bases. They blocked off the Strait of Hormuz. And eventually, they will go after the water desalination plants, which is the lifeblood of these nations because they don't have fresh water supply. In fact, the water desalination plants provides 60%.
He's been making videos for almost 3 years now. It's like he magically appeared. Fair enough. Fair enough. I was trying to remember because I did some investigation. I was trying to look back how far his videos were going. I only go back like 1 or 2 years. But yeah, 3 years is enough to rise organically. Yep.
Of the GCC's water supply. So if a drone, and these drones cost $50,000, if they wiped out a desalination plant in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and it's a city of 10 million people, right? They'd be out of water in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks. And right now, the Iranians have de facto closed off the Strait of Hormuz, and the GCC gets 90% of its food from the Strait of Hormuz. So I know a lot of people are talking about the disruptions to the global economy, but right now, the Iranians are actually threatening the very existence of Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Qatar. And why this is important is that the Gulf states are really the linchpin of the American economy. So what they do is they sell petrodollars and then they recycle the petrodollars back into the American economy through the investments in the stock market. And right now, we know that the entire American economy is propped up by AI investments in data centers. And a lot of that comes from the Gulf states. So if the Gulf states are no longer able to sell oil, and they're no longer able to finance AI, this AI bubble in the United States, then this AI bubble will burst,
and with it will burst as well the entire American economy, which is really a financial Ponzi scheme.
Right.
So that's a dire situation that the Americans are facing right now.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, sir, an Amazon data center was literally
Pretty fucking bleak view of the fucking situation. You got to admit, very, very, very bleak outcome there. Have you heard this part yet, Jag, or any of the Americans in the stream? Have you heard a prediction like this, or an interpretation of events of this nature? You got to admit there's a lot of truth to the idea that the AI bubble is largely inflated by investments that come from the Gulf states. Like Trump had them all over, signing $100 billion deals, investing in American AI technology and buying that technology to invest in the Gulf states themselves. They're going to, make a new Silicon Valley almost, or like have their own AI revolution in the Gulf states. Razor, yo, what's up? How you going, Razor? Hope you're well. Hope you're doing well for yourself. This is some interesting theory, I gotta say. And so, like, if the Gulf states go down and they recycle a lot of the petrodollar system into Wall Street, so a lot of the American dollars that are floating around the world get recycled into America via Wall Street because of Gulf state reinvestment, and then the machine goes around again. Like, will that threaten the financial system in the U.S.? And if it threatens the financial system in the U.S., it'll do so via impacting the supposed AI bubble that everyone's been speaking about. A lot of factors tying together there. My God. Yeah, they were buying almost as many data centers as U.S. companies. Yeah, I've been gleaning all kinds of nuggets from his videos since I found him. He's very in tune with the current events and the way the system is structured. It might be 100% correct, but he gives a good analysis. It makes you think, this is fucking mental. I know Spandonk is very cynical or very critical of this, but it's a very interesting analysis though. Like tying a thread through all of those different factors and drawing them all together, the invisible thread and little chain of events there. Interesting too, he's talking about the idea that the Gulf states themselves will be rather fucked if they can't get access to the shipping that comes through the Hormuz Strait. Very interesting, because from what I understand, listening to Brian from the New Atlas, is that effectively, you know how people keep on saying Iran's effectively shut down the strait? They say effectively because they're still letting things through. It's just they'll only let through commercial vessels that are tied to Iran or have good relations with Iran somehow. So like, if they do want to strangle the Gulf states, the other Arab nations in the area, then they're just not going to let their ships go back and forth. It's very interesting. Don't have anything nice to say and all that. I'm just going to zip my lip. No, be critical. It's important. But I know you don't like anything that this guy says, or you're not a big fan anyway. Very interesting lines that he's drawing though. LOL, the more skeptical Spandog is about something, I will usually follow the alternative path. What is actually reality? It's the Spandog effect. I think this is normal, especially since this person is talking about the idea that only exists and is providing you with their analysis based on similar past occurrences with several countries. I'm just not a Jiang fan.
Really hit in the UAE. And now, of course, big tech companies, which were looking at the UAE as a major potential data center investment hub with cheap and abundant energy, probably going to be rethinking that. We also wanted to talk to you about munitions. We can put this next one up here on the screen. The United States is racing to accomplish Iran mission before munitions run out. This is specifically around interceptor math. There's a famous video just from yesterday in Israel, which shows a single Iranian ballistic missile which is being targeted by some 11 different interceptors, all of which miss. Most of those come from the United States, not to mention all of the different bases, the GCC countries that you just talked about, and the asymmetry of the cost. It's $1 million for a missile, tens of millions per interceptor in some of these cases. With these munitions running out, how does that change the global picture? So you're in China, obviously, much of the stocks in Asia of the United States are likely to have to be cannibalized if this were to go on. How is that going to affect the global picture here?
Right. So my first point is that the United States military is not designed to fight a 21st century war. Remember, the military-industrial complex came to being after World War II, and it was designed to fight the Cold War. And the Cold War was really about muscle flexing, about who was able to send people up into space, who was the first to get the person on the moon, who had the more complex missile systems. And so the entire American military strategy revolves around very sophisticated technology that costs a lot of money to build. And that's what the American air defense system is basically. And that's why we're seeing this asymmetry, as you point out, in this war, where you have these $1 million missiles trying to take out these $50,000 drones. And it's not sustainable in the long term. And so what we're seeing is really the puncturing of the aura of invincibility and invisibility that sustained American hegemony for the past 20 years, especially after the collapse of the Soviet Union. And this is really a reordering of not just the global economy, because this signals the collapse of the petrodollar, and with it, the entire U.S. dollar-based reserve currency system, but also the global hegemony of the United States. We're moving towards a multipolar world.
Professor, this morning, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth was asked a question about potential ground troops in Iran. He refused to rule out that possibility. And he said, oh, well, we're not going to project to you what we will or will not do, but we don't want to, rule anything out. We will do what it takes. Do you think that America will end up invading Iran from the ground, since it's already becoming relatively clear they won't be able to accomplish the goal of regime change or even regime collapse using just air power alone?
Right. So everyone says that the worst calamity that could happen in the United States is if it were to send ground troops into Iran. At the same time, the United States are committed to regime change in Iran. We've never had a precedent in history where you were able to regime change from the air alone. You need ground troops. And so unfortunately, what's going to happen over the next few months is that pressure will build on America to send ground troops, especially from the GCC countries and from Israel, which are being pounded right now by the Iranians. So remember that if the GCC countries, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, Bahrain, if they go, then the petrodollar goes with them. So the Americans need to protect these countries.
I'll be back in a second.
These countries are going to demand that either the Americans bribe the Iranians to cease, and this is like $5 trillion in indemnity, okay? Or send ground troops to wipe out the Iranian threat once and for all. And I know that there's no political will for ground troops to be used against Iran among the American people. But remember that 78% of American people was against initial strikes against Iran in the first place.
Right. And one of the things that really comes into question, I think, with all of this, sir, when we're looking at the geopolitical picture and the sacrificing in much of this from the United States on behalf of Israel, is kind of a question as to who and what wanted this. We were actually curious for your view on a disputed report here from the Washington Post. We can put it up here on the screen, F3. A push from the Saudis. Israel helped move Trump to attack Iran. Now, this has been internally disputed by Saudi Arabia, saying that they did not push the Trump administration to attack Iran. However, this is clearly an authorized leak from our own government, trying to at least lay some of the blame on behalf of the GCC. What do you make of this analysis and of this narrative that Saudi Arabia was also trying to be behind this push to bomb Iran?
So I've always argued that both Saudi Arabia and Israel are heavily invested in regime change in Iran. Yeah. In fact, Saudi Arabia sees Iran as much more of an existential crisis than Israel. Because remember, Israel still has nuclear weapons, and Israel is a very diverse, very sophisticated economy, whereas Saudi Arabia is completely reliant on oil. And it's always had problems with Iran because Iran is a theocracy opposed to the Saudi monarchy. Iran funds and equips the Houthis, which have been antagonistic towards Saudi Arabia for the longest time. And right now, the Saudi economy is suffering. It's been trying to pivot towards more of a tourist economy. That's why they brought in Ronaldo. That's why they're switching to e-gaming. That's why they're building something called a line, NEOM. And all these things are not working out. So they need to be able to control the oil resources of the entire Middle East if they are to survive and thrive as a nation. So I do believe that this reporting is credible, even though it does make Saudi Arabia look bad. But remember, Saudi Arabia says that they wanted peace, but they are helping the Israelis and the Americans attack Iran right now because they're allowing the Israelis and Americans to use Saudi airspace.
So help us understand, because it still feels to me like there's some pieces that don't totally add up. You had, in advance of this war on Iran, you had top military brass, up to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, saying, this is a really bad idea. We are not ready for this. All the math on the interceptors that's been talked about for months at this point. And yet Trump still decided to go ahead. What is the calculus that he was making here that led him to take what, already appears to be catastrophic actions?
Right, okay. So this is the key question. Why do they do this? I think there are three possibilities, okay? And I think all three possibilities are valid. The first is the idea of hubris. If you look at history, this is how empires behave. So the Mindoro kidnapping was quick, successful, and it was adrenaline rush for Trump. And that made him overconfident in the capacity of the American military, okay? So hubris is a factor, and we see this throughout history. Why did Hitler invade Stalin? Because he conquered Europe really easily. And
he would. Where the fuck is Indoctrinathan? It's a good question. He would have some strong opinions about all of this stuff. I think he's doing an investigation on the Epstein files with the noisy immigrant. A Twitch streamer, and they're going through 3 million files. So it's like day by day, painstaking analysis kind of thing. But yeah, this is an interesting little point here. Like, people have made this call a lot. It's like Trump was on a fucking high after he finished up Venezuela, and he thought he could just walk into Iran. Silly commander-in-chief. Right?
Thought it was invincible, right? And that led to the destruction of the German army in the Soviet Union. So hubris is a factor. Then you have to look at internal political calculus, where even though America does not benefit from this war against Iran, Trump himself personally benefits. Why? Because the Saudis and the Israelis are bribing him to attack Iran. Remember that the Saudis invested $2 billion in the private equity fund of Jared Kushner, who is the son-in-law of Donald Trump. And the Israelis, through Miriam Adelson, have been financing Trump's political career, right? So Miriam Adelson, a few months back...
I don't know how much they made off oil futures, how much Trump's family has just profited generally in this whole situation. Wasn't he saying 30 seconds ago, it's not about oil, it's about hubris? Make up your mind.
Said that she will put up $250 million if Trump were to run a third term. So Trump is getting a lot of financial and political support from the Saudis and the Israelis. Also remember that if this war goes sideways and Trump is forced to use ground troops, he will probably get approval from Congress, and this will give him emergency war powers, which will allow him to influence the midterms. So Trump is thinking about a third term. And I think at the ballot box, he probably won't get it. But if there's a war going on and you can delay elections and you have emergency war powers and people rally around the flag, then he probably will get a third term. And the last factor that is very important is the eschatological factor, where if you look at the Epstein files, it's clear that we are run by secret societies. It's clear that the world is run by these individuals who have a lot of power. We don't know who they are, but they control the military. They control the national security apparatus.
Yeah, I'm muted. Sorry. Thank you. I gotta cut this stream now. Jordan's out the front somewhere. I gotta go find him. But I have to cut this particular stream, and we'll start up a new stream around 2:00. So we're gonna have like a break for like, I don't know, like 45 minutes or something. So like sit tight. If you can, come back, and like I'll put it up on like Discord so you can get the link. But like I'm gonna start a new stream for the next segment. So yeah, no, like we're right in the middle of that part. I wanted to finish hearing what Jiang has to say, but yeah, we're going to like cut this stream, and we'll have another one set up for the interview with Friendly Geordies. So like, you know, give us 45 minutes or something, and we'll be back again. We'll be back again, right? Like an hour from now, like 2:00. We'll be back on at 2:00. All right. I will see you soon. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.